Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here, and in today's video we're going to talk about the war and attrition, which is probably one of the most controversial and talked about topics in Battlefield 5. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, a lot of people are in between. So in today's video we're going to talk about some of the problems that the war of attrition brings in the gameplay of Battlefield 5. But first and foremost, I know I sound a little bit weird. I currently have a glorious summer cold, so please bear with me. Now, without further ado, let's get stuck right into this. So starting off with the health. So in Battlefield 5, if you don't know, there is limited health regen. You only regen a certain amount, even if you are very low. You never regen up to 100 by yourself, unless of course you don't suffer enough damage for the set amount of regen to health to cap that 100. So starting off with the first problem that this creates is it penalizes the player who stays alive and manages to outgun, outplay, outmaneuver their opponent in order to be the last man standing. So this means that unless you are running the medic class, which can heal himself, or always going to those resupply stations, you're very much penalized, because the next firefight you're getting in, you're going to have even lower health points than the other player if he just spawned in. So basically it makes it so that you're at a serious disadvantage. You might take only 1 to 2 shots to get downed, while the player in front of you is going to take maybe 5 or 6. So there's no question of skill or better positioning or better map knowledge. If you stay alive long enough and you don't go to resupply stations or get healed by a friendly medic, then you're shit out of luck, because it doesn't matter how good you are, chances of survival are pretty slim to none. The next problem is it creates inconsistent gunfights. So if we go back to the scenario where you outmaneuver an opponent, he brings you down to, let's say, 20 HP. You heal up 35, which brings you up to 55. The next gunfight you get in, you are at a disadvantage, and the player in front of you has a significant advantage, and it just creates these inconsistent gunfights. Sure, it feels great to down an enemy in 1 or 2 shots when you are on the giving end of that. So if you are the player without 100 health and fighting an enemy that only has 55 health left, then it does feel pretty good to take him down in 1 to 2 shots. But flip that scenario on the other side, and you are the player with 55 health and you're facing an enemy with 100, odds are pretty much against you, and it's pretty much insurmountable. You, 9 times out of 10, will be the player to go down, and it just doesn't feel great at all. Next is it makes the medic class a must. So in many scenarios, the medic class has always been one of the more powerful classes in most Battlefield titles. They always had access to some of the better weapons, notably in Battlefield 4, where you had the assault rifles, you had the power to stay alive a lot longer than other classes, and you also had the power to revive fallen teammates. So in Battlefield 5, you have all the advantage to play medic, especially in smaller game modes, which we will see in Battlefield 5 at full release, and even infantry-focused maps. So you will have all the advantage to play medic, especially if it has a wide variety of weapons to choose from, so weapons that can be very powerful up in close quarter combat. Then why wouldn't you play medic as opposed to assault? You have so much more survivability, and it creates a very big dependence on the medic, and it makes the squad composition pretty much a must. So you have to have a medic, you have to have this. So I think it's just going to make it so that people are going to feel forced to play a certain role in a game that is a little bit more casual as opposed to something that's a little bit more hardcore. And speaking of that, it feels like they're trying to give a hardcore experience to everybody, which 90% of Battlefield players like to play it casually, okay? There's people that play it just every now and then. They don't really want to get into the game all that much. They play it for fun, and now they're getting a hardcore experience shoved down their throat, which maybe isn't really what they want. They just want to have fun and play with their friends, not really think about, all these different mechanics that you have to think about. Okay, my health doesn't regen to 100. This ammo scarcity thing, okay, I have to absolutely play a medic because that's what we need in our squad. If not, we're probably going to lose because we won't have the ability to heal each other. We're always going to be low on health. So you have all these other things to think about that the average player doesn't really care. which is also known as teamwork, and we're going to touch a little bit more on that topic later in the video, and probably in a whole other video, because I think it's something that in Battlefield is a very controversial topic as well. So teamwork, and there's a lot of memes around it, all this stuff, so we're going to touch about that probably in a completely separate video. So moving on to the ammo part of the War of Attrition. So it makes the support a must have as well in a squad composition. So right now the ammo scarcity is a little bit better than in the first alpha, because you spawn with a little bit more magazines and you are able to carry more magazines, but still there is a high dependence on either scavenging, which is when you down an enemy you can pick up a little bit of ammo off of them, but it's never enough, because for example it might take you 7 rounds to kill an enemy and you only pick up 9 off of the player that you just downed. I mean, 2 rounds extra, what are you going to do with that? Probably waste them, because, for example, that day you weren't playing very well and you have low accuracy. So it comes back to the same issue as before, is you're going to have a support in your squad now. If not, you're going to be at a disadvantage because your teammates are always going to be running out of ammo. On top of that, if you don't have any supports, it creates a very, very strong dependence on the resupply stations that can be built throughout the map. And this touches as much the health aspect of the War of Attrition as the ammo. Now, more often than not, these resupply stations are situated directly on a flag. So what stops a player from actually just setting up shop there and camping and always having an advantage on his enemy? If he takes damage, he can just hide behind the medical crate and press E to get a little bit of healing, and he can just keep dealing damage on his enemy until, you know, he eventually takes him down, because that person isn't playing medic or runs out of ammo because there's so few rounds, like you spawn with so little ammo that eventually you will run out of ammo. So it makes this kind of like forceful mini objective that you need to go to these resupply stations to actually be a useful member of your team, and it creates the camping problem like I just said. It just feels as though it's very forced, and it's something that you absolutely need to do in order to stay relevant in the game, and I don't think it's a very good idea, especially not having them directly on flags, because people are just going to camp on those, just sit there and heal up, ammo up all the time. And also, as soon as you spawn, I found myself doing this, I always go to a resupply station to get the maximum ammo that I can before going out into combat. So it just hinders gameplay more than helps it, and creates teamwork, which I said we're going to touch a little bit more on later. So it creates this false sense of teamwork and, you know, making it a little bit more hardcore at the cost of good and proper gameplay. Also, I talked about it a little bit earlier, scavenger. So basically, when you down an enemy, you can pick up some ammo off them. If this stays in the game, I think it's a very good mechanic to have, because it gives the player just a little bit more ammo to keep actually being like useful in gunfights, as opposed to running out and having to rely on those famous blueberries who never drop damn ammo. But I think if they leave this in, it should maybe resupply just a little bit more ammo than it currently does. So, for example, the SDG-44, when you down an enemy, you pick up some ammo off them, it only gives you, like, I think 9 rounds or something like that. I don't even think it's that consistent, but that's very few rounds, considering that it might take 7 shots at a distance to actually down an enemy if you hit them in body parts that have a reduced damage modifier. So if that stays in, maybe just make it so that it gives you a little bit more ammo, but I think this is a great mechanic and it should stay. Now, I know that why they're doing this is to maybe balance out the support class, because in previous Battlefield titles, the support class was always seen as the class that isn't really needed, because generally speaking, players don't run out of ammo before they end up dying and respawning, so there is never the need for ammo. So they decided to create the need for ammo by making you spawn with an unreasonably low amount of ammunition to actually deal with multiple enemies, and you know, make the support class a little bit more relevant. But how they could do this instead is maybe have the support class overcharge the amount of ammo that you can have on your person. So for example, if you can carry 5 magazines, and the support class, if he resupplies you with his crates or his ammo pouches, can give you, I don't know, 1 extra mag that you can carry on you. He can overcharge the amount of ammunition to example 3 sticks of dynamite instead of only 2. So that would make the support class very viable because he can supply his teammates with that extra amount of ammunition, but at the same time doesn't make him so viable that he is a must-have in every single squad composition. So that's pretty much where I stand on the war of attrition, that they're trying to force a hardcore situation onto a casual player base. They're trying to force teamwork onto people, but it's not really giving the desired effect because most of the players just get in, play what they want, and it's just going to cost people who know what they're doing a lot. You know, they won't be healed, they won't have any ammo because players don't drop ammo, they don't heal their teammates, they're just going to play sniper, stuff like that. They're going to play the class that they want. So it's not really having the desired effect of teamwork that maybe they thought the war of attrition would have on the gameplay of Battlefield 5. Just a few more points to touch on before I end this video. I know it's running a little bit long. I apologize. I had a lot of things to say. So what I would do is remove the recharge stations as well, because I feel like those will just be a problem in the long run. Also, crates right now are pointless, so ammo and health crates are absolutely pointless. The whole point of running health and ammo crates, for example, in Battlefield 1, is to forcefully heal your teammates or forcefully give them ammo. But in Battlefield 5, the player has to physically go and press E on the ammo box or health crate to actually get that health or ammo. So you're pretty much just, you know, making them irrelevant because the player that is giving health or ammo can just run the ammo pouch and throw them at people and forcefully refill them that way because they can just run over it and pick it up, as opposed to physically going to the box and pressing E. So if you're going to have it that way, what's the point of having the health and ammo crates? In previous Battlefield titles, it was to, you know, forcefully heal and resupply teammates, as I said, but also in a large aura, so more than 1 to 2 people at once. Anyways, I apologize for the long video. I had a lot of things to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, what you think of the war of attrition, if you think that it's a good thing that you want it to stay, if you're kind of in between, if you absolutely hate it and think it hinders the Battlefield 5 gameplay. Anyways, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, the dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I release Battlefield and first-person shooter-related content pretty much every day, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.